What's up, you guys? Godzilla fan freaks coming at you today with another figure review. And today we are not reviewing anything Godzilla or Kaiju related. We are reviewing something Star Wars related. Today we are taking a look at the Disney Store Kylo Ren Elite Series figure. I don't have the box. I tossed away the box just because I really didn't have a place to keep it, and it really wasn't that interesting of a box. But this is the Elite Series Kylo Ren that I know was Disney. I believe the Elite Series figures were only Disney Store exclusives. You can only get them at the Disney stores. And so I picked up this guy. He's mainly made of die cast, so he's a really heavy figure, that's for sure. Other than his cape and his lightsaber, which are plastics, and of course rubber for his cape and everything. Um, he's more or less die cast. His head's die cast, body, arms, legs, all die cast. So he's a really heavy figure. But let's get right on into this figure with paint job. Paint job for this figure, really not a black figure. He's more kind of a black with a little bit of grayish to bring out some highlights, which is very nicely done, all in the cloak area and his cape and his hood and whatnot. Very nicely done. Same with the his arm covers or whatever you want, his sleeves, his gloves, pretty much has that same type of color and texture to it. The belt going around his body is more of a black, and because the figure is die cast, the belt actually does look really well. Helmet, very nicely well done, black as well as the silver in the face area. Hopefully all that's showing up well on camera. Very nicely well done. The lightsaber is beautifully well done on the hilt, mixing in some blacks with some browns, as well as some silvers in there as well. Just very nice for the lightsaber hilt. I don't know how well any of that's going to show up on camera because it is rather kind of small, but it is very nice. And then, of course, you have the red for the two small vent blades off to the side, as well as the main blade. And boots and everything, that same kind of black with a little bit of grayish mixed in to bring out some detail. So overall, very nice. Detail on this guy, great. The cape and his hood has very nice, wrinkles and indentations on it. You got the back here to where it looks kind of, torn and very weathered. Very nicely well done. Again, all the wrinkles and stuff, and all the kind of like arm bandages, almost like a mummy type cloth design going down his arms shows up really well on this figure. And then, of course, the lightsaber and the hilt, very nicely well done and detailed with all the little uh, electronic, jiggers, whatever you want to call it. Very nicely well done. The blade, of course, we all know Kylo Ren's blade was unstable, but this blade looks more or less smooth. But the way they did the detail is it's hard. It's not going to come up on camera at all. You have to have this figure in hand to really see it. But they grooved in the detail into the blade, so they got like little waves and swirls and whatnot in the blade itself. But again, it's really not going to show up on camera, but it is there. If you ever have this figure in hand, you'll be able to see it. Helmet detail looks great. Definitely Kylo Ren's face mask helmet. Very awesome, and very cool. You got this hand where the fingers are kind of spread out in like a forced motion. Very nicely well done and sculpted, especially since it's all die cast pretty much. And then next we'll go on into articulation. Articulation for this guy, it's pretty basic since it's a die cast figure. You can't get a whole lot out of it, but his head, I'll try to pull back the cape. It's kind of hard since it's rubber, not really a cloth. But his head does turn left and right, and he does kind of look up and down just a tad. Again, it's hard to show you with the hood because it doesn't really move out of the way easily. But believe me, his head does look left and right and kind of pivots just a little bit and looks up and down briefly. The shoulders, each one is the same. They kind of move forward and backward like so, as well as up and down, as well as the elbows can bend on each one, and then the hands on both arms can rotate as well. So decent range of articulation for the arms. Legs, at the hips, they can kind of kick out to the side as well as kick forward. And then, of course, you have the knee joints. Not a double jointed knee, just a single joint, so you can't get too much craziness out of it. And then, of course, on his feet, he does have an ankle joint, but again, because it's die cast, you really can't get too much movement out of it. So you kind of just have a forward and backward kind of a tilt. Not really a side-to-side ankle pivot, but just a little bit, and then you can kind of get the foot to rotate side to side. My joints on mine are a little stiff, so I'm not going to force it or anything. I had mine in a set pose. See if I can get them back into it. That works. For those of you who have seen reviews of this figure or have this figure, you do know that the lightsaber comes detached. But just because the lightsaber didn't fit securely in his hand, it almost always fell out one way or another, I decided to super glue the lightsaber to his hand. And it is in a nice position. It looks great. And just because I have this figure out on display, I don't need him never not to have the lightsaber in hand. So I decided to glue it in place. If you ever decide to get this figure, I would suggest you want to do the same, unless you want the lightsaber, loose. But I decided to glue it to his hand just so it makes it look all that more awesome. And as far as scaling goes for this guy, I don't really know what I could scale him with that I kind of have on hand. Here he is next to the next figure I'll be reviewing, which is the Black Series Kylo Ren. A little shorter, the Black Series one is, and the Elite Series is a little taller, but, so he's not really going to scale in well with anything from the Black Series. Here's another figure I will be reviewing in the future. Here is the Marvel Select Thor figure. He more or less scales in with like the Marvel Select figures. So really good scaling kind of with those types of figures. So that's about it for scaling. And to sum this video up, that is my review on the Elite Series Kylo Ren figure. We are Godzilla Fan Freaks. Hope you enjoyed this review. Like always, please comment, like, and subscribe. And we will see you guys in the next video review. Thank you for watching.